Good morning, everybody. I'm here with amazing psychic Liz Cross. I'm not going to ask how she's doing today because she didn't have a good morning, so we're not going to. But our prayers are out for Liz for sure. Nothing serious, just joking. Okay, so we're going to probe the shooter of the United Healthcare um, assassination. So this is big news, and we hope to shed some light on it. We're going to bring in Mr. Luigi Mangione, who is
Yeah, I
the
guess that's how you pronounce his name, Luigi. I've got him here. Now, first impressions is he's being sedated.
okay. Yep. And he's obviously in custody. And is he in like a psychiatric ward?
Oh, are you in a psychiatric ward? No,
Okay.
he's in jail.
Okay. All right. All right. So I actually want to ask some questions first, like the conspiracy stuff, because I'm sure we may like do away with some of those first off, and then we can figure out what's going on, or maybe not. Maybe we uncover something. So big talk that I'm seeing is that the photos that we have of the shooter don't match up. So the clothing is different, the backpack is different, the facial structure is different. And obviously a lot of these assassinations, there's obviously multiple people involved. If it's like, there's a plan behind it, they want to, have like a patsy, a fall guy, and then they have the real shooter that actually executes it. And then they have the fall guy that goes into custody. That's a lot of the times that does happen. So like for instance, this picture here, we can see this is the shooter with the gun. He's got a different backpack on, similar jacket, but I believe there's some differences in the jacket when we look at this picture. Um, so the person that we're looking in these pictures, let's just start with this one. How can we probe this to ask the person in the photo here with the gun, is that Luigi? Who should we
Okay.
ask? How should we go
I'll
about it?
ask him. I'll ask him. The picture here, I'm gonna flash the image. The picture here, is that you? It is. It's him.
So, but can we get a second perspective from somebody else that would know? Like maybe,
The
I don't
cops.
know. I don't want, I want like an unbiased perspective.
Okay.
Not a thing against the police, just I want like an unbiased perspective. Um, so Luigi said it's him. Can we ask, I don't know. I'm not thinking of who to bring in here, like my master team. I don't know, just I don't have time to figure out someone right now. This is last minute. I think they're objective, hopefully. Is this the person that we showed on the other screen, Luigi, the person that's holding the gun in this picture?
Is this the person? It's him.
Okay. And then let's go to these pictures here. Is the person on the left Luigi?
Is the person on the left? Is that's him? Yes.
And then on the right, is that also Luigi?
On the right, is that also Luigi? Yes, it is. The difference in the color here is just the color of the camera. If you notice on the left, everything is that same color. So if you look at the stripes and the
Mhm.
floor and yeah, and then you look, it's almost like there's a filter. You know when you do a
Yeah.
selfie or whatever and you put
Yeah, it's
filters
just a
on?
bad camera filter.
Yeah.
So what about the difference in what he's wearing? So in this shot, he has a completely different color backpack. Why is it that there's two backpacks and one person? And
Mm.
this has a different color backpack. That's not from the camera. That's a black backpack.
Can I see the first one again, please? Ooh, okay. And then the second one, why are there two different colored backpacks? Did you have two backpacks? He says he did. He dumped one.
So what was the
Which
purpose? Sorry.
Sorry, which one did you dump? The black one? He's saying it's like a dark blue. Did you dump that? Yes. Where did you dump it? He dumped that in the hostel.
And so how are the police in the possession of both backpacks?
Let's ask the cops. I'm gonna group the NYPD together. Are you in possession of both backpacks, the one from the hostel and the one from, the what he was wearing at the shooting? No, they only have the one backpack.
Interesting. Do they know about the other backpack? Obviously, I mean, I
Do you
gotta.
know about the other backpack? Do you know that there's potential of two backpacks? I mean, they're saying they're leaving everything open. There is a potential. Have you gone through like landfills looking for it? No.
But they obviously are aware that there's. I mean, I'm looking at the pictures. I'm hoping their detective work can also detect that there's two backpacks.
Do you think that there's two backpacks? It's a strong possibility, yes.
Okay, because
They're
I
not confirming or denying.
okay, all right. Okay, and I can't see the difference, but people are saying that there's some sort of difference in the jacket that they're wearing in the different photos, but I don't see that. Maybe that's just me. I'm not sure. I haven't had time to really look at this too much. But are these indeed the same pieces of clothing that are being worn in both all three photos?
So, are these the same pieces of clothing that are being worn in these photos? I mean, not everything is the same, no.
The jacket, I guess, in particular. I think that's what people are talking about.
Jacket, is this the same in both photos? To the best of his knowledge, yes.
Okay. All right. So yeah, people are saying that there's multiple, and I don't have all the pictures here because I just wasn't prepared to do this, but I'm hearing people talk about this and I at least saw these photos. So I wanted to clear that up. So let's bring in Mr. Luigi and let's ask him some questions. Everybody wants to know, like, is he been put up to this, or was this, was he the lone gunman, as they say?
Were you set up to kill the CEO of United Healthcare? No, he did this all by himself.
Okay, so he was not under any influence that he's conscious of or unconscious of.
Oh, were you under any influence that you're aware of? No, he did it. Now, let's ask your team, or let's ask Spirit, was he being mind controlled? No,
Okay.
he wasn't.
Okay. All right, fair enough. All right, I'm glad we can put that out of the way. So then let's ask some questions about his motives from him. What were his motives then?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just so bizarre. Let's ask, why did you do this? I wanted to teach America a lesson. What do you mean you wanted to teach America a lesson about the healthcare crisis? Why would you say that we are in a healthcare crisis when you come from an extremely wealthy family who I'm sure had a lot of money at their disposal to pay for the healthcare as and when you needed it? Now, see, he's disagreeing with me as I say that. Um, he's saying to me that all that money's tied up. So are you saying that your family, if you went to them for help and asked them to pay for medical procedures, would they do it? No, no. There's some sort of rift between he and his family. I can feel that very strongly. I don't feel he gets along with them. Um, Certainly not his parents. There's something not right here. He doesn't get along with them. So did they cut you off did they financially cut you off? For the most part, I feel like they did financially cut him off. And why? Because I didn't fit in with their agenda. Okay. What is that supposed to mean? You didn't fit in with their agenda. I feel like they wanted him to be something and he wanted to be something else. And they were always, locking horns is what I'm getting. I think they had ideas about what they wanted him to do, what they wanted him to be, and he wanted to be a totally different person. He definitely lacks motivation. And I'm saying, I'm feeling that lack of motivation coming through, but then I'm saying, why am I picking up on this energy, this lack of motivation? When you were highly motivated at one point because you went to an Ivy League university, you have 2 degrees, you were the valedictorian. That was the old me, he says. Well, what do you think has changed? What do you mean that was the old you? And what is different between then and now? I'm in a lot of pain. Okay, so we all know about the back issue. Is it because of the back? No, he's in a lot of deep emotional pain. What is the root cause of this deep emotional pain? He actually does not know. Okay, personal
Okay.
thoughts, feelings, and opinions, he does not know. Now, you were experimenting with psychedelics. Why? To help me get over my back pain. So you believe that the psychedelics were going to cure you from the back pain. Yes. And did that happen? No, it was a complete failure. Now, I know you have questions about the psychedelics, Mr. Photon. I think, well, I'm not going to say it. I'll just let you ask your questions.
Okay, well, I don't think they're plausible anymore but I'm just going to ask them anyway, so I'm not going to assume anything. I just want to ask. So the way in which they were administered, or the people that helped him with the psychedelics or acquire them, or however he did that, do they have any connections to MK Ultra?
I don't even know what MK. I've heard that thrown around so many times. Um, MK Ultra, were the psychedelics to have any attachment to MK Ultra? No, no. I
Okay,
feel like he went to like shamans or practitioners. Um,
sure.
and I'm
And
saying,
anybody could influence those shamans or so what I'm getting at is, was there anybody that was influencing those shamans or practitioners to administer drugs to him for any other purposes?
oh, and was he being mind controlled as he was under the influence of these psychedelics?
Right.
Ah, were you being okay? So I'm gonna group the shamans. All right. Did Luigi come to you? Yeah, several times. So this is not a one-off thing. He did this how long did he do this? How over a course of what? Weeks? A year. So over the course of a year, he was going into these psychedelics. Now, where do you have good intentions? I find, and I hate to say this, unpopular opinion, shoot me down in the comments. I don't care. Shamans very rarely have good intentions. They know that they have a place of manipulative power and they can use that for their own gain. And
Yeah.
I've been gone into that before where, particular shaman in Peru was siphoning off the energy of people even long after they left the retreat. Excuse me. And we worked long and hard, me and a few others, to break that stronghold that they had over these people. And most people are very vulnerable. They're not even aware of what's going on in the background. But in order to make the shamans more powerful, they were siphoning the energy of others while they were under ayahuasca or these psychedelic treatments. Okay, so for over a year, he was under the use of this psychedelics. And were there any bad intentions behind it? I mean, was there any part of any mind control infiltrating into the signal lines or infiltrating into Luigi in order to make him do this? No, I'm getting a no. This is him. Now, I will tell you this. The psychedelics are what broke him. Okay. And I have put plenty of warnings out there about using this stuff, about using ayahuasca. You're not in control of what happens mentally. And yeah, you may have positive results, and I'm aware of that, but you're not in control of the journey that you take once you start going under the influence of psychedelics. It's not like hypnotherapy where you may have someone who's able to control it. You may just end up on like a runaway train under psychedelics and cause all sorts of damage. I feel, and I'm going to ask here for spirit confirmation. Did he become schizophrenic once he took part in the psychedelic? Yes, he did. So he brought about some sort of psychosis, some sort of schizophrenia, because of the psychedelics, and
Now,
that's
did he have a
why he lost his
predisposition
mind.
also? I want to know that he did or did
Um,
not know about.
uh, did you have a predisposition? I mean, yeah. I mean, he was already mentally vulnerable anyway. And was that due to the back injury? It was. So he was already like in his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions, like his life was over because of the back injury. Now, there was all sorts of sex issues as well. Were you addicted to pornography? Yes, he was. He was addicted. He became very addicted to pornography. And is it the sexual frustration that was going on behind all of this? Is that what was causing you deep emotional pain? Yes, it was. He was seeing it as his life was over.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So
So,
we still don't know why he killed the CEO. We don't know. I
right.
mean, we haven't got there yet.
Yeah. Okay. So we have sort of the beginning of the seeds of a motive and, like a catalyst event where now he was triggered by this psychedelic experience um, into schizophrenia or some form of it. So where's the connection? Where does he go from that to then plotting, the assassination of this specific person for this specific company?
Why did you choose the CEO of United Healthcare? He's an easy target. Were you tracking other CEOs of other healthcare companies? He was. He was. But this guy was an easy target. Why? Because his schedule was known, his schedule was posted, his security was lax. Had you scoped him out before? Yes, he had scoped him out several times. Okay. So this hanging around in New York, was that the first time you'd actually come into contact with him? No, it wasn't. He had traveled before and he had scoped him out before. And it was easy. Why do you say it was easy? Lack of security. And I mean, did you have a problem with the company? He hates all health insurance companies. He's just told me he hates them all. But they are not responsible for your back problem. I'm aware of that, he says. So why on earth would you think that it is, your duty to do this? Like, what were you hoping to achieve? Awareness. Did you care that you went to jail? Not really. My life is over. So, in his mind, he had nothing to lose. His life to him at that point in time, and even today, it's over. How do you feel about being in jail now? It's terrible. Are they treating you well? Yes. Are you being seen by a doctor? Several. Do you know what you're being charged with? Yes, he's aware. Do you have legal representation? I don't feel he's had a lot of interaction with the legal representation. I feel like he does have legal representation. Is your family, have you spoken to them? Yes, he has spoken to them. And are they going to arrange legal representation? They're working on it. Okay.
Mhm. Okay, does he have any background military or law enforcement or like where is he getting this background or like weapons training or anything like that?
Do you have a background in weapons training? I feel like he was trained to shoot. What
By
it went
who?
by who? Who taught you? I feel like it was something that, it was something that he wanted to learn and he
So it was a
learned it.
hobby. So it was
Is
just a
it a
hobby.
hobby? I think at some point it was a hobby. Yes, is it a hobby? Yeah, it could be deemed a hobby, but he likes to shoot. Do you like guns? I mean, not particularly. He likes what guns can do. He likes instilling fear with guns. Did you ever like sexually abuse anyone? Since you had these sexual problems, did you ever try to rape anyone or anything like that? Even though I shouldn't have just said that word on YouTube, but did you ever try to do anything like that? I don't feel he had even the confidence to be around anybody after that. I mean,
Mm,
his life was, well, according to him, well and truly over. Did you not think that you could overcome this problem? No, he tried everything. But definitely the use of psychedelics is so strong, has totally brought about this psychosis.
mm, okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know where to go for it with it. Well, actually, I do
I
know where.
I do.
Let's
I
go
do.
to
I
the
gotta ask
previous.
him some questions. All right.
Okay. I do have
Here
something
comes
though when you're done, but you might,
all
you're
right.
already.
Here comes my dispatcher angle. All right. So you think you're pretty, you think you're quite clever? Oh, I know I am. Mm. Because I did ask my husband, because my husband's an ex-cop, right? And I was like, okay, look at this kid, right? First of all, he goes to Starbucks, DNA opportunity, forensic opportunity, like, come on. That is, it's just like rule 101 of how not to commit a crime, right? Because, it's like burglars. When burglars go and before they go commit a burglary, they smoke a cigarette, and they put the cigarette out on the pavement before they break in. Okay, that's the first thing that cops and forensic analysis look for, DNA opportunity. So let
Yeah.
me ask you these questions. When you were in Starbucks and when you were drinking and you were sat there, and I saw another picture of him with his hands on the countertop, right? And bearing in mind, it's not going to be insanely busy at that time in the morning, and your fingerprints, and you didn't have gloves on. Did you not think about the forensic opportunities that you were leaving behind? He didn't care, right? He just said to me, I don't care. Did you not think about when you committed the shooting that you would be on camera? No, he knew he would be on camera. Okay. Did you not think about when you took off that, because I even see him riding the bike, right? With no gloves on. There's no gloves. He was leaving his fingerprint everywhere. Did you not think about that? He didn't care. He, again, same answer. Okay. When you dumped the backpack, did you dump the backpack in Central Park? He did. Okay. What was the Monopoly money about?
Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
like what is the Monopoly money about? What is that to, what was that to, was that bait for the cop? Like, what was that, a message? Yes,
Troll?
it was a clear message. Yeah, it was a clear message. So what was it? That it's just play money. They're playing with our lives. They're playing with our money, he says. They're playing with our opportunities. They make the decisions whether we live or die, whether we get better or not. And they shouldn't be in charge of controlling our health care. Okay, let me stop you there. Right? Because a lot of people think that, oh, well, we'll just leave everything up to the government to control. Is that what you were believing, that the government should be in control of the healthcare? Now he's just told me no. Well, who do you think is going to be responsible for all of these healthcare costs? Because somebody's got to pay, right? Somebody has to pay for the equipment, the running of the buildings, the staff, who's gonna, we the people should have access to free healthcare. Okay. Now, did you have a problem paying for your surgeries? Yes, he did. Okay. He's telling me, and he had a problem with pain management. Were you addicted to opioids? I think he was on opioids as well.
Sure.
Okay. Now, is that part of the reason you were upset? Yes. Why? Because what? They would rather give you a pill and numb your pain and get you addicted? Precisely. Than to fix the problem. Yes. Okay, so now we're starting to get some more information here. But who is responsible for these healthcare costs? He can't give me a clear answer. It's just like, well, it should be free. Okay, he needs to go and speak to people who live in countries where the healthcare system is free. Okay. It's not a good system. It's a terrible system. They are on waiting lists. They don't get the surgeries they need. They can't even get doctor's appointments, that now they're telephone appointments. You're even in a queue. I know some in a lot of places in the UK for a month to get a telephone appointment with a doctor. You can't even go see a doctor in person, right? And the hospitals are crumbling. They don't have the equipment. Like, who do you expect is going to pay for this? He doesn't care. So, this to me, I don't think he's that smart. I really don't. I think that it's the psychedelics that have messed this kid up. I really do. He's not that smart because if he is wanting to take a stand about the healthcare situation and highlighting and do you like attention? Because a lot of cops and detectives think that you're addicted to the attention. He loves attention. Are you a narcissist? Yeah, I am getting that he's a complete narcissistic personality disorder, and that doesn't surprise me. With the addictions in place, the psychosis that he's got going on, the porn addiction, loves the attention, thinks, full of self-hatred. I don't know. This kid, to me, for all of his credentials and all the education, I don't think he's that smart. He didn't actually think it through if he really wanted to make a difference, he could have done something like lobby or become a politician or, become a protester or outspoken member of society. And he should have traveled to other countries where the healthcare systems are on their knees trying to give freebies to the citizens. It's not an ideal situation. I'm not saying that we're perfect here, but I'm saying our situation in a lot of cases is better than the alternative. I mean, there's lots of people on cancer waiting lists that can't even get treatments in those countries. I don't know what this kid wants. I really don't.
Yeah, I think it's obviously that's happened to him and he's angry, but I don't think that's the root cause of why he did this. This is obviously stemming from something else, and this is, because as you pointed out, it's not the best way to go about it, right? There's better ways to do it than this. So,
Well, yeah, and he's anti-capitalist and he's eating at McDonald's. I
yeah.
mean, like,
So
how
yeah.
contradictory can you possibly get?
Yeah, so let's ask then, what is the true root of this? Let's ask Spirit. This is, was it in this lifetime or was it a previous lifetime? Did he have contracts with the person that he killed, for instance? Would
Yeah,
be good.
let's look in his past life. Because I've got the guy, Brian, standing here. He's been waiting to talk. He's like, I'm okay. I'm okay. It was all very necessary. I'm like, it was? And he says, yes, Liz, it was. I'm meant to be here. I can take it. Did you sign up for this? He did. His soul signed up for it. So let's look at Luigi's like past life and find out what this is. Okay, I'm looking for the pattern to give us some sort of explanation or whatever it is from his past life that we need to know. Okay, very typical, very typical. I see a past life of a bird. We were lots of birds and lots of reptiles, lots of fish in our past lives. And I see him and he's got a twig in his mouth and he's very busy and he's trying to build a nest, but I see what is this supposed to mean? Because I see him building a nest, but he can't seem to hold this nest together, right? He keeps like putting twigs there and he keeps putting hay or straw or whatever it is, things that birds build nests with. I'm not a bird watcher. Um, but I see, and it doesn't stay together. Like it keeps falling apart or the wind blows, it knocks the nest out of the tree. He just can't seem to hold it together. So no matter how hard he tries. Okay. So going into this lifetime, what does that mean? He can't hold it together. He doesn't have the mental resilience that is required just to get through life. There's some sort of breakdown in the brain wiring here. There's definitely a breakdown. He can't hold it together. And he's always been on the verge of a breakdown. Now, as I look in his, younger years, not that he's old, but I look in his younger years, he figured that the way to get ahead was to be this massively high achieving individual. He got a lot of praise for that. It was the way to get admiration. It was the way to get attention. And that was the only way he was holding it together. But, when everybody let go of his hand and they shoved him out into the real world, he can't cope with that.
Yeah.
And he can't cope with traumatic event. He just doesn't have that resilience within him to cope with, adverse situations. And that is the problem. So then he was hit with this adverse situation where he had this accident, or this, I believe it was it a surfing? Yes, it was. And it was, he could have been left paralyzed. Actually, he's what he's telling me. So the fact that he's come out the way he has and not a completely paralyzed human being is remarkable. But he didn't see that as a place to have gratitude. He didn't see that as a plus. I can grow from that. I can become stronger. What this event was in his soul, this back injury, was an opportunity for him to really face adversity and to find that strength and resilience that comes from self-love and self-worth, and to move forward. But you see, once again, another lifetime where it has completely backfired. So why this contract to shoot this, and CEO? Why was that made, to contract it into the life plan? Because he'll find you know what? Okay, makes perfect sense. If he thinks he has it bad now, wait till he gets to jail. Wait till he gets to
Uh,
prison, because going to prison for all those years, and he will be convicted and he will be sentenced for life. Okay, that's just coming through very strongly. Going to jail and having to deal with the prisoners and the inmates, it's going to make you toughen up. And hopefully by the end of the lifetime, because he will die in jail, hopefully by the end of the lifetime, he will actually find that resilience that is needed to grow his soul and to keep moving forward. You see how these souls operate? You see what they do? Mm.
yeah. Yeah. Now the first that did he really have an opportunity here? Like when he first had the accident, was there an opportunity for him to grow from that and to learn the life lesson before he would be hit with the second part of that opportunity? Or was it just that's how
That's a good question. Hmm. Sorry about that. That's a good question. Did he actually, because that was already contracted into his soul to go mental, to be on these psychedelics, to lose his mind, and to, I'm like, is prison going to dry him out of all the drugs he was on? And I feel for the most part, yeah, because he's going to have to be on his guard. Is he going to be locked in a psychiatric unit? No. He's going to end up being lumped in with the rest of the prisoners. So, was there actually an opportunity there for him to, have gratitude? And he did it. He had a brief moment of gratitude, I'm getting from his soul. But no, not really. The opportunity is going to be found in jail. Now listen, he's going to have a very rough time in prison. I'm telling you right now, I can see it. He's going to have he's going to be in prison. He's going to be beaten to a pulp. He's going to have to survive. It's survival of the fittest. He's going to have some mental strength. He is not a mentally strong person. Now he's got this schizophrenia. So going into prison with that, will his schizophrenia be resolved since it was brought about with the use of psychedelics? No, no, that's another component to this big conundrum that his soul has set up for him. And hopefully, in the end, he will have enough self-love and self-worth that he'll be able to cross over with some sort of dignity and feeling accomplished. But his soul likes to go to these extremes. This is not the first time he's gone to the extreme.
yeah.
And it will keep going to the extreme until the conscious mind eventually gets, gets the information in and alters the subconscious and the soul.
So I have a question that's kind of, I don't want to say it's personal, but I think maybe other people could maybe resonate with it as well in their experience. So I just find that okay, if I hear these stories or we're exploring these soul contracts and everything else, it obviously evokes, I'm sure, emotions in me and probably listeners as well, as to like, what do you do with this information? Right? Like this is all like, yeah, we're listening to this and this is an interesting story, but us listening to this life path of this person, is it also an opportunity for us, to be motivated in a way? Because, you can look at this and this is a really bad story, but you could also look at it as like, we should be grateful that that
Right.
we're where we are, and there are things that we probably are can change our own. That's kind of where my brain is going to with this. So can we ask Spirit, what's the positive spin for the listeners here, if there is one?
The positive spin, well, the thing that comes to mind to me is it doesn't have to be this hard, right? And believe it or not, we did a whole video on positive ways to achieve ascension and life lessons. Would you believe? And that video's gone missing. Can you believe that? We
Really?
recorded it. Me and Mr. Reality recorded that video okay, did the dark like steal the video? We can't find this video. Um, and I'm desperately trying to find it. It's like the videos just vanished. Where we went through a lot of positive scenarios of how to grow our soul in a positive way that these souls don't need to make it this hard. I mean, this is horrific, right? And this is again, I know I bang on about the CTT, but as we're growing as a group, our CTT group, I mean, it's amazing. We're doing some amazing things over there, and we're learning every week. We have new things that we can work with, but sending information to the souls, like, come on. There are better scenarios, better ways than this, what he's doing. What he's doing is, oh, let's lay it on thick and give me the worst possible, worst case scenarios that I'll learn once and for all. And I feel like a lot of our souls are just, we don't have a manual. We have to figure it out on our own. And we keep going with these terrible events and these terrible things in order to grow, and we get stuck. But the soul doesn't care about the fact that we get stuck. The fact, if you do this like, 500 times in 500 human lifetimes, the soul doesn't think of it as, oh, I'm wasting my time here. No, no, they don't think that way. I'll get it eventually, just not this lifetime. I'll get it in the next lifetime. So we are definitely looking at ways to send information to our souls, like what is important, what are some ways to positively ascend, without the need for all these drastic life lessons, toxic soul families. We've learned in the past week, through one of the CTT sessions, how we actually overcome these contracts to all these toxic soul families. Like, what do we need to do in order to rise above it? I mean, we're just working so hard. So there are ways and means around it. Unfortunately for him in this lifetime, I mean, this is it for him.
Yeah.
Uh, his soul, I'm like saying to his soul now, do you think you made a big mistake as I'm putting all this information to you? And he's like, well, looking at it in that way, I guess so, but there's nothing I can do because we're bound by these contracts. You just have to give thanks. I would say you need to really try to live in a state of gratitude for what you do have as opposed to what you don't have. And, again, the risk of partaking in ayahuasca, psychedelics, and things like that, you can't, or even marijuana, or even maybe too much alcohol use, whatever it is, your drug of choice, it can bring about a paranoid psychosis. I mean, we have to come to terms with that. This isn't La La Land. And, there's so many tools out there that you don't have to resort to doing these things in order to achieve some sort of healing and enlightenment. I mean, I feel
Right.
sorry for this kid in a lot of ways. Now, I know he's killed someone, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, aren't we all just sitting here listening to this video, wishing and waiting for some type of healing, and we're exploring all these different modalities? That he was doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, he was doing the same thing. Unfortunately, yeah, he had that predisposition and he didn't initially think that through, obviously. You wouldn't know about that. So, yep, it's a slippery slope with that stuff. Obviously there's people that have soul contracts that do that, and it's they're there to do those things, but there are risks. So,
A
okay.
lot of there's the nasty shamans, there's the, you know, um overdose potential, there's the slipping into psychosis, opening up parts of the brain that are locked for a reason, you
And then
know?
also anything that's floating around out there
Oh
also has
God, yeah.
to get in because your consciousness isn't attached to you. So it's exposed.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and if you think that your conscious mind can override your soul programming, you have, this soul path, think again. Now, I know that may seem like, oh, well, we're just hopeless and helpless, so we're just going to sit here and not do anything. What we do know, and I as the more we do it, the more we're finding out how powerful the CTT actually is, right? Because you can use it as a tool to send information to your soul.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think George Duisman, when he created the CTT, had any idea of its power. I mean, he somewhat knew, but I hope that he's looking down on me from the spirit world, and he's proud that, he chose me to carry the torch for him, and I hope that I'm carrying it well with all the information that we're coming across with what we can do with the CTT. So, I mean, that's my go-to. I don't want to sit in a hypnotherapy session or QHHT session for 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours. Like, who has time for that? I don't want to do psychedelics because I lose control of my subconscious and my conscious mind. I'm not doing that. I don't like losing control. Um, I want to be in charge of my healing. And so that's what I love about the CTT. It's relatively fast and you don't have to go under the influence of anything. And you're not subjected to dirty shamans. Not
Yeah.
saying all shamans are dirty, but from all the readings that I've done, thousands of readings, and the amount of times that I've come across people that have, locked horns with these shamans, it's a mess. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to think that just because they're, got the big mask on, the healing mask, that there's not bad intentions behind it, and there are.
Yeah, it's a position of power, like you said. So it can be like it does draw that certain type of personalities sometimes to that position of power, just like any other position of power, right? So yeah,
And they don't care if you trigger your own psychosis by using their psychedelics. They don't care. Why would they care? They're in business, right? People are paying a lot of money for this stuff, and it's like a little factory. You go in, you do what you need to do, and you get out. He was a regular user of psychedelics, and he was looking to heal himself. There were other ways. There were other ways, and I'm sorry that he had the back pain issue. I really feel for him, but he hasn't looked at all sides of the problem.
sure. Okay. Well,
Any more questions for Mr. Luigi while he's sitting in jail?
I don't personally have the questions. I think we covered a lot to get to the bottom of this, from, the spiritual, metaphysical side all the way down to the nitty-gritty of what actually happened that day, who was involved, and why. So, what do you think? You think it's good to
I
wrap this
think,
up?
yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Yeah, and we'll see what other people have to say in the comments, and maybe they can point out different angles that we can revisit. But I think this is pretty much, yeah, I think we understand now. It's the psychedelic psychosis really that made him just go mad.
Yeah.
He was hearing voices.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll stop this one here. Thanks, Mr. Photon, for being a good sport. And as always, Mr. Photon has his email address and his tip jar listed in the comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you.